There we go. 6 years later. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Hi.
Did you say good night?
No, I said hi.
Oh.
Very, very different. Hi is 2 letters. Good night is 9.
Well, everybody
Yes, but
else
they
was
rhyme.
saying good morning, and I just heard the I part. So I was like, did you say good night? Anyway, welcome
Hold on.
in.
Faith, real quick. I want to go back. Josh, good night and hi do not rhyme.
If they're in a rap song, you're literally listening into the first syllable. So yeah, they do rhyme in that instance.
Sure,
Well, the
okay.
first syllable of good night is good, not
Yeah.
night. So
I was going off of night. So
Still don't rhyme. Faith,
cheers, Joe.
basic English. Let's move on.
So welcome to Starts at Different Day, where apparently we're starting our day with a grammar lesson, which I am totally here for. If you know anything about me as editor of Club Fantasy, I'm down. Use your commas, kids. It's Saturday morning, which means we are here to talk about starts and sits on a different day. Joining me on this lovely Saturday morning is our mustached friend, Ryan, our bearded friend, Josh, and Joe.
I woke up, disclaimer, I woke up
And
20
Joe.
minutes ago. My girlfriend had to wake me up because I didn't get out of bed. So
Maggie, the MVP.
yeah, and I just see she turned on our Christmas tree in the back for
Yes,
Leon,
queen.
apparently.
That looks awesome.
Thank you.
Beautiful. So normally this is where I would start things, but this is normally where I would talk about Thursday, but we're gonna let Joe talk for a couple seconds and talk about all of the lovely people who you need to go through all of your 8,000 leagues and say, okay, I have to sit this person because they're hurt. So Joe, take it away.
I think this may be one of the smaller lists we've had this year.
Yes.
But questionable for the questionable tag, Kenyon Drake, who is getting closer to playing. Chris Carson, Carlos Hyde, Mark Ingram, Damian Harris, saying Sony Michel could be activated from IR this week. Just throwing this out here. Do not go get Sony Michel.
No. I'm just saying it could hurt Harris a little bit.
Oh, sure. Sony Michel's garbage. It's not going to hurt him at all. Matt Breida, Anthony McFarland, Jerry Jeudy, Golden Tate, N'Keal Harry. He's not going to play. Trent Taylor, T.J. Hawkinson, Robert Tonyan, and for the 2 kickers, Dustin Hopkins and Nick Folk. Nick Folk will probably play. I don't know much about Dustin Hopkins, but Nick Folk should play. Doubtful. Joe Mixon still has the doubtful tag on him, and Jair Alexander also doubtful. That's going to help DJ Chark. Out completely, Gardner Minshew, Kyle Allen. They have not placed him on injured reserve yet. Interesting. Christian McCaffrey, David Johnson, Raheem Mostert still on IR. Tevin Coleman, Justin Jackson, Kenny Golladay, Deebo Samuel, and Laviska Shenault, which is also only going to help DJ Chark. One less target to take away from DJ Chark's target share. But in with us for today's show is...
Excuse me. Excuse me.
I felt like
me,
that was
not you.
That's
me.
All right,
I wrote it as Faith, the host.
Thank you. This ain't your show, Joe.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was a clean slide. But go ahead, Faith.
It would have been clean had you stuck to your parts.
I told you, I woke up 20 minutes ago. I don't read the show doc. I woke up 20 minutes ago.
See, this is what I find funny. On Wednesdays, it's usually Joe and I that do all the arguing, and on Saturdays, it's Faith and Joe, which is just
Hold on. Back to your corner.
Yes,
Is that a diner bell?
yes.
It's actually a bell we taught our dog to ring when she wants to go outside.
That's fantastic.
Cool.
Well, Ryan, actually, it's funny that you use a bell as your choice of sounds because we have a special guest joining us from probably 20 feet away from Ryan in Ohio. Are Ryan's family, his wife Marlia, and his son Donovan. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hola.
Hey.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Muy bien.
Nailed it.
There you go.
More Spanish than I know, Donovan.
I was
Congratulations.
gonna say, we could ask our resident Hispanic over here.
Yeah.
How much
No,
Spanish do you know, Josh?
Un poquito.
Poquito de español. Yeah.
Marley is going to teach us more. Welcome to Grammar in Spanish on Starts at Different Day.
Yes,
So-
Donovan did mention that he expertly uses his comma, and I have a master's in English, so of course I'm going to gravitate toward a comma conversation.
Ryan, I love them.
Me too.
Well, that's good.
I hope so. You keep spending my money like you love me.
Oh boy.
It was funny when we said it before the show, and it's funny now.
Of course.
I like your tiara, ma'am. It's very beautiful.
Oh, thank you. I just, I heard a rumor about my possibly being a haggard these days, and so I thought I'd show that is not the case.
That's right. So, Lauren, if you're watching, stop telling everybody how ugly my wife is.
Thank you. Okay, I'm
He's a bombshell.
Have it, okay.
I feel like I missed something.
Lauren insinuated that Ryan's wife wasn't beautiful. Obviously, we all know that she was joking, but we're never going to let her live it down.
All Lauren said was my wife was a beauty queen. And I'm like, oh, are you saying she's not beautiful anymore? And it went off the rails at that point.
Tense matters, people.
It
Tense
went
matters.
off the rails at that point. I'm surprised it wasn't sooner, honestly.
Yes.
So, Ryan, why don't you tell us a little bit about your beautiful wife and clearly cool son?
Yes. So my wife was Miss Ohio 2005, hence the tiara.
Cash.
She is also the sugar mama of this house. I am lucky enough to be a stay-at-home dad while my wife works. She creates training programs and just makes stupid people smarter in her free time and tries to deal with everybody.
I love
So
her. I love her so much.
Donovan is in 6th grade. This is his first year in fantasy football, and he is on the show this week because he plays me. So Donovan is currently in first place, despite the fact that he lost Dak Prescott, Christian McCaffrey, and Austin Eckler.
Thanks.
Get it, Donovan. Get it.
I am tied for second to last, but still fighting for a playoff spot. So if Donovan wins, he keeps first place. If I win, I'm in the playoffs. So that means I'm not allowed to give him advice this week. So we looked over his lineup. He has Travis Kelce, so he definitely needs some help at tight end. So we looked over his lineup, and he has 2 questions for us that I will not be answering. So I'll let Donovan jump in now.
Fantastic.
I have an important question before Donovan asks his lineup questions.
Okay.
Donovan, what's your favorite NFL team?
I don't really have a favorite, but any team that has a bird logo is the best.
So birds, you like teams with a bird logo, and your name kind of reminds me of somebody. Like, tell everybody, who are you named after?
Donovan McNabb.
Eagles. Fly, baby.
The great Washington Redskins quarterback, Donovan McNabb.
Stop with that slander.
He has no idea what we're talking about. Just so everyone knows, Donovan does not care about football. Donovan joined a league because he wants my money, and I bet him that he could not beat me in fantasy football, and he is currently drilling me in fantasy football.
Are you cheapening out on his weekly allowance, Ryan? Is that the motivation here?
Not even a little bit, but he does win. So we made a 3-way bet. If he scores more points than me, $25. If he scores, or if he has a better record than me, $25. And if he wins the championship, regardless of who he's playing, an additional $50. So he has $100 on the line to win this league.
Wow.
Look at that smile.
Man, these are like bonus level escalators in this fantasy football contract. I love this.
My son's sole motivation in this world is beating me at
Marlia,
anything.
did you negotiate this contract?
No, I was out of it.
I was going to say, isn't this...
I beat him. I want him to lose.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the gamer in him right there.
Now,
I like
just so everyone knows before we get into the questions, Marlia was actually in my league of record for the first 7 years. She hasn't played in about 7 years, but she actually won a championship in 2008. The trophy I display back here is actually her trophy because I'm a fraud and don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. So
Oh, we're gonna lose half our viewers, Ryan. Asshole. Gosh.
We give him crap all the time for displaying that trophy and pretending like it's his, because he just mentioned last week that it was your trophy.
Yeah.
Just the rudest.
I actually scratched her name out on it and wrote my name.
I'm surprised she didn't go with the masking tape method and just taped right over it.
Why do you think you threw off koozie in front of it?
As you say, there's no names on it. and she used my cheat sheet, but we won't get into all that. Anyway, Donovan. So Donovan, why don't you go ahead and throw us your questions, buddy?
We'll just mute your dad.
Should I use Darius Slayton or Christian Kirk?
Christian Kirk.
Kirk, absolutely.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Darius Slay is going to get that Darius Slay treatment. Darius Slayton's going to get the Darius Slay treatment. Yeah, it's early. I can't figure this out.
Too, Josh.
But one stat that I thought was interesting, the Eagles haven't allowed a receiver to have over 80 yards this year. So that really caps Slayton's upside. Sterling Shepard is typically the one that does well against the Eagles anyway, so I wouldn't look for a big game from Slayton. Christian Kirk has been on fire of late. I believe he has 6 touchdowns in his last 5 games and 5 touchdowns, in his last 3 games or something along those lines. I would absolutely roll with Christian Kirk this week.
Yeah, he's been crushing it. Christian Kirk.
And then at tight end, should I use Robert Tonyan or Eric Ebron?
I think they both scored double digits, but I think Ebron's the safer play.
Yeah, I was just looking at the metrics here. The Jags have actually allowed the 5th most fantasy points to tight ends this year. So Robert Tonyan actually has some upside going into this week. Again, I just don't trust any pass catcher in Jacksonville or in Green Bay not named Devontae Adams. Ebron has 3 straight weeks of 11 plus fantasy points, so I would roll with the consistency with Ebron.
The other thing to add into the Tonyan thing, Mercedes Lewis and Jay Sternberger have caught more touchdowns in the last 2 weeks than Robert Tonyan because they'll throw to whatever tight end is in the lineup on 2nd and goal. So just something to keep in mind for everybody with Robert Tonyan.
Props to you for saying his name right.
I said it right because I wanted Joe to say it right for once because he never says it right.
Never gonna say it right. Nope.
I'm pretty sure I'm just gonna call him Robert Funyun from now on.
Yes, Funyuns.
Funyuns are delicious.
At this point, it's O-N. That is on, not un.
I agree.
Tonyan.
That's why I'm just gonna call him Funyun.
Robbie T. We'll call him Bobby T.
There you go.
Not to be
That
confused
will
with
get
Bobby
confused
Trees.
with Bobby Trees.
Yeah, not to be confused with Bobby Trees. But yeah, so Ebron and Christian Kirk
There you go, Donovan.
are the 2 unanimous decisions here. And I
got Jared Goff, and he's going to score 800 points this week, and I'm going to win. So.
Oh wait, he's your stream of the week this week. Oh, that means he's only going to have like 13 points. We know the routine here, Ryan.
All right. I had to use Ryan's stream of the week to pick up a defense, so I hope he's not.
Oh no, he crushes it with tight ends and defenses.
Rushes defense.
I had to pick
Let's
up
see what he should have had was Drew Lock as his stream of the week this week.
Yeah. All right, family. Would you like to add anything before we kick you out of here?
Listen, we're not going to kick them out. At this rate, I might kick you out. She clearly knows more.
They're going to graciously bow out is what's going to happen.
Well, we will.
As royalty does.
My dad's bad at football.
Boom.
Donovan,
So wait,
how old
do
are
you want to tell
you?
them the name of your team?
Crush your enemies.
I love it.
Going to the dirt.
Wait,
I like
okay.
They were never born.
I appreciate the voice, but I still have no idea what he said.
So there's an SNL skit with Adam Driver where he plays an old oil baron and screams, "Crush your enemies," and Donovan thinks it's the greatest thing ever. So his team name is Crush Your Enemies, and it's a picture of Adam Driver from Saturday Night Live as his team logo.
Very
So.
nice.
Yes.
That's great. Love that. Awesome.
Hey Mar, what was your team? What was your team name?
Am I allowed to?
Earmuffs.
So one of them was your tits, and the other one was chocolate mounds.
Wait, hold on. Your tits? That's it? It was just that?
Sugar tits.
Oh. Faith! What do you want?
She covered her kids' ears, and then you go out repeating it when they're uncovered. Hello.
Ryan's out here dropping F-bombs. I don't know what you want from me.
Oh, believe me, I'm not the problem with F-bombs in this house.
Lamar, I hear you screaming cuss words playing Call of Duty.
Oh.
Big time.
Fair
Hey,
enough.
listen, Donovan. Sometimes the enemies have to hear it. It's just
Right. He
there's
knows.
hackers.
We told him he can cuss when he's a teenager, so he's been counting down the minutes.
Oh, jeez.
Nice.
You're not
Only on,
He's going to go
only
on a
online.
Tourette's level rant when that happens. I can hear it already.
Donovan, you're not officially a teenager until you're 16. I don't care if 13 has the word teen in it. You're still like a preteen. So 16.
Well, I said we're going to make the birthday cake say, it's your fucking birthday.
I love
Period.
Period.
that. I love that.
All
It
right,
is your
guys.
birthday.
Thank you so much. I wish I could wish you good luck, Donovan, but I hope your team completely gets hurt and you have the worst week of your life.
You know what?
Go,
So
Donovan. We're rooting for
We'll
you,
wish
buddy.
you good luck because we're clearly
Beautiful.
behind you more than we're behind your dad.
Donovan, it's very clear you don't need luck. Your dad's bad at fantasy football, so that's
Boom.
written in stone right there.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you,
Appreciate
guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Appreciate you.
Good
Awesome.
times.
Fun.
Good times.
Right.
I thought,
Suck it, fantasy football.
yeah.
Then now we can get to all the other questions.
Yeah, I was gonna say we got time to build up questions. So.
Yes, that's perfect. I love doing
Hey, all
that.
right, let's go.
From
I
the
know how to
top.
work this scroll. From the top. McSweet wants to know, Joe. I laughed when I saw this. Are the Pats making the playoffs?
Are the Pats making the playoffs? McSweet, in short, no, they're not making the playoffs. It's just, no, they're not making the playoffs. If they beat Baltimore,
Ooh.
and then I believe they have Miami after that at home. If they beat those two in succession, they're back to 500 and they're set up better. They're not going to beat those teams, so they're going to be 3-7. Obviously, they're not winning the division. They already lost to Buffalo once. They needed to beat Buffalo twice in order to win that division. The AFC is in a rollover conference this year, honestly. There's a lot of pretty solid teams, and the Patriots just aren't one of them. Even with that expanded playoffs, that 7th spot, you're looking at the Chiefs, the Bills, probably the Colts because they just beat the Texans. The Titans on Thursday Night Football in that division. And then the Steelers. Like those are going to be division winners. Then you still have the Ravens, who are most likely going to make it. And then don't blink now, but the Raiders currently have a playoff spot. And then Miami also has a playoff spot. So,
Miami is no joke. Like, I understand how bad they
Well-
were last year. It's just that defense is so good.
I mean,
It
right,
hurts.
they are a
They
joke.
brought in the right pieces. Like they spent some money, but those pieces fit with them.
Yeah.
And they're performing very well.
They're still the Dolphins, so they are a joke right now. But
I mean, they
they're-
got a better record.
Joe,
than
I have an
Patriots.
important question. Shut up, Josh, whoever you are.
Patriots still have a better record than the Eagles.
Well,
So
to be fair, Josh's middle
Yeah,
name
but
is
one of
Ryan,
us is winning
so
our
one of them
division.
would have stuck. Joe, what does it say on your coffee mug? At least he's a dinosaur.
so yeah, I normally have my World's Greatest Boss mug from The Office
Office?
because that's the only mug that I have. Matt, out of the 22 mugs we have in there, 21 of them are Maggie's. This one that is hers says, "All my friends are
Friends are
dead, and it's a
dead."
dinosaur."
So
I was
sad.
I was like, "Hey, what mug did you give me this morning?" She's like, "The dinosaur one. All my friends are dead." I'm like, "Oh, great way to start the morning."
So
I'm
morbid.
surprised you haven't moved on to Christmas mugs.
That is a great mug.
I don't really know what we have for Christmas mugs, in all honesty. I think we only have a couple, but
I could have gone with the reindeer one, but once you get to the bottom of the cup, I literally have to tilt my entire head back because the antlers would be in my eyeballs.
love that. Fantastic. But no, McSweet and Short, they're not making the playoffs. If they make the playoffs, they're going to get bounced in the first round. So if you're a Patriots fan, I'm
Okay.
sorry. I have faith.
I'm not
All right.
sorry.
Josh, again, you're the tallest of the midgets. That's not an accomplishment.
Hey, that's okay. Midgets are still people.
Midgets are still people, but saying you're the tallest of them does not make you tall.
Luna!
Yes, Luna
Let's
is here.
go.
All right, I think Sean's up next.
Yes. So before I pull up he needs you to set his entire lineup.
Oh, I did this last week. We love it.
Yep.
Half PPR, one QB, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and a flex.
Yeah.
So here are his running backs. They
running
are
backs.
Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, Josh Jacobs, Giovanni Bernard, Zach Moss. His wide receivers are Tyler Boyd, Bobby Trees, and Terry McLaurin. And for tight end, he's got Goddard or Fant.
I think we talked about this actually on Wednesday. You definitely are starting all three of those wide receivers. Like, no
Yep.
question there whatsoever.
And then
Chubb and Hunt.
Yeah, we
Josh,
said-
you have the
Can't
demon.
at all.
Yeah, Josh, unplug, replug. If Chubb doesn't play, Josh Jacobs, and then Goddard. Not Goddard. Fant, Noah Fant.
Fant.
Yeah, there's your most definitely.
So yeah,
Easy
both
one.
Browns running backs unless Chubb's out, and then you're gonna plug Jacobs in. So you,
Yeah.
as hard as it is, you are probably benching Jacobs this week.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
benching
Okay.
Josh Jacobs for the record. So
So does McSweet pick up DJ Chark off waivers?
Yes, especially this week.
I normally would have said no, but because of how he looked last week and the fact that Jair Alexander's out, yes, you want to play DJ Chark this week.
Jake
Okay.
Luton, baby, go Beavers.
Hey,
Where's
Shark
that from?
does really well with these 6th-round rookie quarterbacks.
He really
I mean,
does. I was thinking the exact same
From-
thing. I'm
from
like,
the
we are
Pacific
literally
Northwest.
repeating last year.
Is it Chark or Shark?
Yes,
Yep.
I'm gonna pronounce players' names however the hell I want to pronounce them at this point because it's ridiculous. Ugh.
I
All right.
agree.
Back to Sean. Full PPR this one. He needs one wide receiver. Jacoby Myers, Alan Lizard, or Hollywood Brown.
Alan Lazard.
Hey, if Joe's pronouncing him
listen.
however he wants to, I'm saying Lizard.
Listen,
I like
it's
it.
going to be painful, but both of them should say Alan Lazard. It's going to be
What?
painful for them to say it, but both of them should say Alan Lazard.
Oh no, Jacoby Myers.
I was just about to say I would go Myers just for volume. To me, Hollywood Brown is droppable in redraft. I think he's only had one good game this entire year.
Because
Lazard
he's
coming
garbage.
off an injury. It's a good matchup against Jacksonville, but they're still going to feed Devontae Adams. That does not. I think you go with the volume play with Myers.
Is Lazard confirmed yet? I
I
have
don't
it.
know. I don't know, and that's the thing is I haven't seen him.
Is there-
Let me check my sleeper team. Hold on, because I have him in Dynasty. He's currently still has the IR tag.
Yeah.
It says 19
So does
hours.
Chubb, but
Yeah.
by all accounts, he's going to play too. So
They have to
here's the-
activate today though, right?
I believe so.
yes.
Yeah.
So the latest from 19 hours ago, so yesterday, it says he's still feeling sore and dealing with soreness and didn't practice on Friday.
Jacoby
So he says he hasn't suffered a setback, but it sounds like the Packers are going to be cautious and hold him out week 10. There's no rush to bring Alan Lazard
That's
back.
what I was going to say. We fought about this on Wednesday, but the long and short of it is they do not need Alan Lazard to beat up on the Jacksonville
Jacksonville.
Yeah,
Jaguars.
exactly. This is not a pivotal game for them, and it's out of conference too. So if there's a game for Green Bay that it's okay for them to actually lose, it's an out of conference matchup. So I don't think if it's between Myers and Brown, it's Jacoby Myers by a landslide. So, but yeah, I mean, if Lazard plays, I would go Lazard, but I really don't think he plays.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that you're banking on with Brown is his upside is still sky high because of his playmaking ability. But they're going against New England. They have a strong secondary most weeks out of the year. So I think if you're going in to Sunday night and you're down by 50, maybe roll with Brown because of that potential for those longer touchdowns.
That's
But
fair.
Myers has the much safer floor based on volume because it's clear that Cam Newton is looking his way early and
Yeah.
often.
I don't think that Hollywood has the touchdown upside, but I mean, you look at both quarterbacks, Cam Newton and Lamar Jackson, they've both looked like dog shit throwing the football this year. So, again, it's not like one quarterback situation is better than the other. They both looked horrible throwing the football this year, and obviously, Lamar's been completing some of the short stuff, but that's not where Hollywood lives.
I say that's not going to favor Hollywood at all.
Exactly. Hollywood lives 30 yards down the field, and Lamar hasn't been able to complete a pass that far downfield. So,
Okay. Sherbert or Allen?
Sure, Jesus.
Show
I
me
am-
the rules. So,
I'm going to unbeat the drum I've been beating for a month now.
you're gonna say Josh Allen.
I'm going to say Josh Allen.
I-
So apparently you can bench Justin Herbert.
I am gonna say Josh Allen as well. They're both taking cross country road trips, both of them.
yeah.
Buffalo going to Arizona, and the Chargers going to Miami. Look, I'm gonna say start Josh Allen, and he's gonna put up a freaking dud. because that's what Josh Allen does. But looking at how Arizona has played at home this year, they allow teams to score a lot of points on them at home. So I would go Josh Allen.
Well, I'm going to be different, and I'm going to roll with Herbert. And the biggest reason why, it's not because of matchups or cross-country trips or anything like that. We haven't seen a bad game yet from Herbert. We have from Josh Allen. So we know that Josh Allen can suck it up. Right now, we don't know that Justin Herbert can. This is going to be a week where he could, absolutely. Miami's defense has been great. They had no answer for Kyler Murray. They had no answer for Cam Newton earlier in the year. They had no answer for Josh Allen. They struggle with QBs that can run, and Justin Herbert can do that. He can scoot. He doesn't necessarily have to all the time, but the way that Miami is generating pressure, Herbert may have to get out of the pocket this week. That's going to benefit him against Miami, where they clearly don't have spies for quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So I think that Herbert, to me, is still the safer play, even though that Allen may have the maximum upside given the matchup against Arizona.
I don't disagree with that at all.
Okay, so this is not a question, but I thought Josh would appreciate that one.
Anthony, love you, buddy.
Tony.
You know, barf. McSweet wants to know what Joe's drinking. I think we've established it's coffee.
Nope.
T.
Tea.
Tea.
For my voice. And
Oh.
yeah.
What about your face?
My goodness. Are you saying he needs
We got
to drink?
antagonistic Faith on the show today.
So are you saying he needs to drink Polyjuice potion? Shout out.
Yes.
To
But then he might accidentally get a Luna hair, and we all know how that goes.
There you go.
I
Okay,
don't
well,
know any
most
of
of
what
us
you're
know.
talking about.
I'll
I'm
say,
too young for this.
Great joke for me and Faith.
I should understand it because he's seen them.
All right.
Moving
Okay,
on.
So are you
All right.
thinking
So, I was
Boyd
gonna,
over Josh Jacobs?
Yes, Boyd
Yes.
over Jacobs.
Yeah.
Could not care less about the matchup with Pittsburgh.
Yeah. More importantly, though, I think, would we change our answer if this isn't full PPR?
I mean, yeah, you would lean the running back.
Yeah, I think
Every
you
time
lean
in a
a running back
standard.
in
So
the
I'm
standard,
just
yeah.
saying, maybe you guys are just jumping to conclusions.
Dude,
Damn.
Jacobs has been pedestrian this year. Like everybody
volume's
is
there,
talking
though.
about him just because of his name value. Like we all expected him to be great. He has not been great this year.
He's
And
a
his
solid left.
his usage in the passing game has done this.
I'll
It's
give
been
you
a
that.
straight dovetail.
Yeah.
So you're basically banking on is he going to score? That hasn't happened much lately.
And
How-
Denver's defense is pretty solid against RBs.
How about his usage in general? Has seen more than 70% of the snaps only twice this year. Devontae motherfucking Booker, pile of shit who came from Denver, is probably going to steal all his carries this week.
There you go. Revenge game, Devontae Booker.
Devontae Booker, Mister, the father of fumble problems, is getting his share in a John. God, I hate John Gruden for that sole reason. Also,
Yeah, I mean he scored last week, but he went 3 straight games with 0 touchdowns after 3 in week 1. He had 2 in week 5, 2 more games without a touchdown, and then 1 last week. So that tells me he's going at least 1 or 2 more games now without a touchdown.
I like it.
very, very correct.
I would also lean Boyd. I just wanted to play contrarian.
Yeah,
You
I think-
never, Ryan.
I think we missed one from Fusion 5. This one.
Boom.
This one.
I like Fournette's upside given the matchup against Carolina.
Nope.
But you never know, is Rojo going to be the guy? You know, I think Rojo's going to start the game as he has been. Fournette's been the third down guy. But all it takes is one miscue, whether it's in missing a hole, a fumble, a missed block, and then it's all Fournette. Like we've seen this with Bruce Arians.
My concern is we haven't seen it swing back the other way, and it's not like Fournette's not going to make a mistake. So that worries me too with him.
I was just saying, like, are we really? We're gonna sit here and bank on a miscue? That's what we're gonna
Well,
start.
yeah, no,
Is
I mean,
the-
I'm with you, and that's where I say the upside lies with Fournette. I think the floor is probably safest with Bernard, and Higgins has the best combination of floor and upside.
It's T. Higgins. It's not. This isn't.
Wait, are we sure this is T. Higgins or
I was
going to
say the same thing.
Oh, that's a good point. Either way,
Because T. Higgins against Pittsburgh, I don't love.
I was actually
I'll
going
take
to
him.
say I would start both Higgins over the other two.
exactly. T. Higgins and Rashard Higgins over Fournette and Bernard. Easy.
I'm gonna just assume that it's T. Higgins because
I think Joe Hayden will match up with AJ Green just for history purposes. He's been doing it for 8 years now. So
Forever.
for the first time.
So I think Higgins
he-
could get loose.
Hayden's not going to travel into the slot to cover Boyd,
But will he
and
travel?
they're going to cover AJ Green more than they cover T. Higgins.
Which is dumb, but whatever.
Yep.
Okay.
The thing I've noticed when digging into their snap counts and then their results of their snap counts is Higgins and Green have basically stolen any upside Drew Sample has. With their size, they are basically used like tight ends in the red zone. So Higgins is a guy who you could really see score a touchdown this week.
He said it's T. Higgins.
Oh, okay.
Go T. Higgins. Yep, easy. T. Higgins.
Okay. So McSweet now wants you to set his lineup.
I love
do
to
it.
set the lineup question.
But wait, here's my. It's
he
set me lineup.
fixed it.
he's like a
fixed
pirate.
it.
No, it's the me part. It just
Oh,
made
the
me.
me.
I read
Okay.
it like a pirate.
I enjoyed it.
lineup.
as well.
Me
I
lineup.
like it.
Okay, so Wentz, Henry Swift, Robbie Anderson, DK, Waller, Gibson, Tucker, and the Rams defense. On
So
his
that's his
bench,
current lineup. Okay.
That's his roster. On his bench, he has Tua, the Washington defense, Jamison Crowder, Tyreek Hill, Gallup, and Myles Gaskin. But Myles Gaskin's on IR. So
Yeah, I'm going to start with the thing I'm an expert with. Get the Rams defense out of your lineup immediately.
Yeah, I was going
if
to say
it's
throw in
Washington,
Washington.
Fine, but you can probably go grab somebody from waivers who you're going to start over both of them, but do not start the Rams this week.
Yeah, all your bench wide receivers are on a bye. So, I mean, you're rolling with Robbie and DK right now.
And feel free to cut Gallup with your current lineup of wide receivers. You do not need Gallup. So if you need a roster spot this week, easily droppable with your lineup.
Yeah, I do love Tua this week. I love the upside, but I would still roll with Wentz against the Giants. He had his best game this year so far against New York. Not saying he's going to replicate it, but I still think it's a safe combination of floor and upside.
Other than the Rams defense, when you look at your lineup, there's no holes in your lineup
No.
whatsoever, but you cannot start the Rams defense. Just don't do that.
Correct. Ditto.
Okay, so full PPR, pick 2 running backs into flex.
Okay.
Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, Antonio Gibson, James Robinson, Mike Davis, or Philip Lindsay. So basically pick 4 of those people.
Nick Chubb, Kareem
Jesus.
Hunt, James
You know
You know
Robinson.
what? Just go with the 2 names not to pick. That might be easier.
Right?
Oh, then
I would not go
Mike.
with Lindsey and Davis.
Yeah.
Correct. I think Mike Davis. I think a lot of people are trying to jump back on the Mike Davis train with CMC out. I think you're going to be sorely disappointed this week.
Yeah, he's
So.
really struggled of late. Heading
And-
into last
and the-
week when CMC got the
Yeah.
saying the
start.
Buccaneers will exacerbate those struggles. So.
Yep.
Yeah. Also, James Robinson plays Green Bay, so you're not sitting him.
Yeah. James Robinson is like a top 3 running back this week.
Yeah, we talked about this with one of your other lineups. Obviously, monitor Chubb. So as much as we're down on, well, I guess there's a question. If Chubb's out, where do
Lindsey.
we go? Okay,
Lindsey. Yeah, I would pivot to Lindsey. They're
Immediate.
against the Raiders, I believe.
Yep.
You would
Immediate.
what to Lindsay, Josh?
Pivot. Pivot!
I don't get it.
Pivot!
friends.
Ah, Friends, the most overrated show of all time. Next question.
Screw you.
And a hush falls over the crowd.
Awkward. Eric Carr or Joe Burrow?
Derek Carr.
Burrow. I would take Burrow just on volume. Derek Carr is just overrated in my opinion. I know people are he's just there's zero upside with him in any given week. None whatsoever.
They are closer than I would like to admit in my standings or my projections, but I would go Burrow.
So Josh, you have Burrow as your downside quarterback.
I do, yeah.
Okay.
But he's saying Derek Carr is perpetually a downside.
Yeah,
Sure.
there's zero upside with him. I don't see it at all. I mean, Denver's pass defense is decent. If I know Bradley Roby's been in and out of the lineup. Wait, no, he's not with Denver anymore. He's with Houston, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so again, their secondary's garbage outside of Justin Simmons, who just plays center field essentially
That's
back
fine.
there in the defense.
And that's what you need against Las Vegas because they're going to take a couple deep shots a game with either Aguilar or Ruggs.
Sure.
Or even Waller.
He's going to dink and dunk. Like this is what it's going to be.
I'm just throwing this out there. 16 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. This is
That's
the
great. That's a decent ratio. Sure. I'm not saying that Burrow's not going to have turnovers. What I'm saying is that Carr lacks upside.
I focus more on touchdowns than turnovers, unless it's a quarterback who could be benched, and Burrow is not going to be benched. So I agree. Burrow is likely to turn the ball over twice today. He's just as likely to hit on 3 or 4 touchdowns.
Yeah. I mean, the one game that it was like really good for him was Kansas City, and they caught Kansas City sleeping 1 week.
That was
Outside
crazy.
of that, he has only one game above 25 points.
I have Burrow as my upside quarterback. I just think
I love that. Yeah, you guys are arguing opposite.
Yeah.
I mean,
like-
he's QB 21 on the season. Derek Carr is. Like, where's the upside with that? There is none.
I look at weapons a lot of times when I'm choosing a quarterback as well, and I just outside of Darren Waller, you don't trust Ruggs.
No.
You can't trust Nelson Aguilar.
so.
Hunter Renfro's done nothing.
So Josh, who would you rather start, Derek Carr or Carson Wentz?
Oh, Wentz. Easy.
Okay, because Wentz is QB 22 in the season and is worse than Derek Carr. So I'm just wanted to get that out there. Also, Joe
Wentz
Burrow
has 5 rushing touchdowns.
Also, Joe Burrow. So you're saying Carson Wentz is the worst quarterback because Derek Carr doesn't run the football. Joe Burrow is
No,
also.
I'm saying there's a different element to his upside.
Okay.
That's what I'm getting at.
So Joe Burrow.
And Wentz has already demolished the Giants this year.
Also, for the record, Derek Carr is QB 15 on the season. Actually, Wentz is 16, Burrow 17. Just throwing
I was
it out
looking
there.
at 4-point quarterback rankings,
Just throwing it out there.
which is what most people play in, Joe.
All right, round's over. Next question.
Thank you, Ryan.
Just disclaimer: everyone, please switch to 6-point passing touchdowns.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
QB's touchdown counts as 6 points. There we go.
We don't need to favor things in the way of rushing. We don't need to level the field for rushing QBs anymore.
Exactly.
Anyway, Duke Johnson or Giovanni Bernard?
Duke Johnson.
Duke Johnson.
Next question.
Next question is not a question, but a statement that I am here for.
Sorry, Mike.
Right, Michael? I'm the reasonable one here.
No, he's referring to the Herbert and Josh Allen.
Yeah, the
Question.
reasonable one here.
Even though you agreed that I had all the good points. So
Yeah, no, you have all the good points. You're still wrong, but you had all the good points.
What are your thoughts on Tua versus the Chargers this week?
I think we see a breakout game. I think you're going to see the two rookies go at it. I'm very interested to see this game, and I think we finally see 250 plus yards and maybe a couple to 3 touchdowns.
yeah, I'm big on Tua this week. He's my upside quarterback.
He looked
70% completion percentage last week. Chargers have looked very pedestrian against the pass the last 5 weeks, 11th most fantasy points to quarterbacks. Tua has some upside. And that hip injury, he had some wiggle getting out of the pocket, showed great awareness.
He did.
Wiggle, wiggle,
Did not hesitate running if needed. So I like it.
I'm here for the weird interjections of music that pops in my head when you
That's-
guys don't say words.
That's actually awesome. That's what we need out of the host.
Very true.
Speaking of Joe Burrow, Danny Dimes or Joe Burrow?
Joe
Burrow.
Burrow.
Danny
Burrow.
Dimes is terrible.
So,
You guys, what is
Di-
Danny Dimes? The
Di-
savior of the New York Giants.
Daniel Jones had his highest scoring week in Week 7 against the Philadelphia Eagles. It was aided by an 80-yard run.
Yeah.
He's not going to have
He
another.
couldn't finish the run.
He couldn't finish the run. So he's not. Look, if you start Joe Burrow and Daniel Jones scores more because he rips off another 80-yard run against the Eagles, that's just bad luck for you. I'm sorry, but you're starting Joe Burrow.
All right, standard scoring. Oh, were you going to say something, Ryan?
I was just going to say, if you hate, wow, I just blanked out completely. Washington quarterback who got benched.
Dwayne Haskins.
Yes.
Dwayne Haskins. If you hate Dwayne Haskins, you hate Danny Dimes. You should not be considering one or the other. They had similar numbers while Danny Dimes is still being considered to be a starting fantasy quarterback. Dwayne Haskins is begging for a job. Like you can't. It's trash all around.
Yeah, the difference is the Giants don't have a reasonably good backup.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
And he has like 5 wins in his career. 4 of them against
I
Washington.
saw that. That's insane.
And also, Daniel Jones backup didn't play with Ron Rivera in Carolina the year before, and his
There it is.
his third string quarterback also wasn't a starting quarterback in the NFL with the Kansas City Chiefs.
I know we have
So,
questions to answer, but do we think there's a chance the Giants move on after this year since they have a new coach who did not
Absolutely.
draft him?
Absolutely.
Ryan, he's bad. It's
I'm
that
not
simple.
saying he's not bad. I'm just trying to keep it interesting.
No, I mean,
Yeah, no, he's
I think part of it to me is going to be where they fall in that, top 3 to 5 range. Like Gettleman obviously is hanging his hat on Daniel Jones. They're trying to rebuild the line. They took Andrew Thomas, who, by the way, was one of my favorite tackles going into this draft, and he's looked like dog shit this year. He has been so bad. The 3rd round kid they got, Purd, I think is his name, actually has played better at left tackle than Andrew Thomas has. So I'm curious to see how that works out going forward. But there were some people going into this draft that thought Andrew Thomas might be better as a guard. What does that remind you of? Eric Flowers.
Yeah.
So just another tackle that the Giants potentially have whiffed on. So it's going to be interesting to see because, again, Jones has only beaten 2 teams. That's it. He's beat Washington and whoever the hell his other win is against. And
Such a crazy stat.
I just don't get it. I mean, they need a number 1 wide receiver, which they had and traded, by the way. They need offensive line help. They acquired Zeitler, who has been okay for them, hasn't been great. Their defense has been better. But if they land in that top 2 or 3, for instance, and they have a shot at Justin Fields, and Gettleman says, you know what, we have a quarterback, we just need to be able to protect them, and they pass on one of these guys, that's just peak Gettleman to me.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, I'm giving you a 5-second countdown to wrap up this
I'm done.
conversation, and we're
Go
moving on to the next question.
I want to bring up a question very quickly about the Giants. Faith, this is a good question. This is like the Grammys. You can count me down all you want. I'm still going to talk past my time. I have unmute powers. I don't know
I know
why.
you do, but it always takes you a second to realize I muted you, and that's the
Because I'm looking at my second screen. Okay. If you are the New York Giants, and let's keep in mind Dave Gettleman's a moron, so he's not going to do this. But if you're the New York Giants, do you trade Saquon Barkley for a first-round pick this year?
Abso-freaking-lutely.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But they won't.
No, Josh,
I mean,
again,
they've
that's,
shown that they're building this offense around Saquon and that Daniel Jones should just be the guy that manages the games. They're not, but he's not managing games very well.
I say, just imagine, though, that they trade for the first-round pick. They're able to grab a quarterback early, grab another offensive lineman late, and then grab a running back in the second round that is going to put up the same numbers. Like
Exactly. Which is
And
really
is
what they should have
healthier.
done before because they could have had Nick Chubb.
that's why I said the running back class is loaded. They could get a good guy in the 3rd round.
Yeah. All I got to say is they passed on Quentin Nelson to get Saquon.
Okay. Standard scoring: Holly Brown or T. Higgins?
T.
Yeah.
Never
Higgins.
Hollywood. Yeah.
Never
Never.
Hollywood. Never Hollywood.
Oh, what the heck? Okay. Defense question. So
Ryan, that's all you, buddy.
Mustache man in the corner. He has the Chiefs in a league, but he needs to grab someone for the week and possibly for.
Rest of season.
Rest of season.
Thank you. Who are you going with, Ryan? The Vikings, the Lions, the Chargers, the Dolphins, the Browns, and are the Chiefs droppable? I know one of these teams, at least one of these teams, because I had to pick them up. One of them is in your stream of the week. Cough, cough, Miami. Cough, cough.
Yeah. Miami's a good player for me this week. And if you look at the next 3 weeks, I don't have the schedule up right in front of me. It'll take me 2 seconds to grab it. Miami is actually very playable all the way through week 13, but then not in week 14. So if you're thinking rest of season, which I'll tell you, I don't normally think rest of season when it comes to defense. It's a week by week thing. But Miami has the Chargers, Denver, the Jets, and Cincinnati. And while we all love Joe Burrow, they still give up a lot of points to fantasy defense. For the next 3 weeks, the Vikings are a good play this week just because Chicago is terrible and Nick Foles is terrible. So if you want to go just this week, I'm probably leaning Minnesota. If you want to plan more long term, I'm definitely leaning Miami because they're going to be playable for the next 4. Let me take a quick look at Kansas City's schedule.
Their only week where they're probably not playable is week 14 against Kansas City.
And then speaking of Kansas City comes out of the bye with Vegas, so that's a good matchup. They have Tampa Bay, which who knows if it's a good matchup. Then Denver, Miami, New Orleans, Atlanta in the fantasy playoffs. I would say if you're going to grab Miami, I would say yes, you can drop the Chiefs and grab Miami. Chiefs have looked very good in some weeks and very bad in other weeks. I would say they're safe to be dropped, especially with their upcoming schedule. So I would, if you only have the one roster spot, I would cut Kansas City, grab Miami. If you're looking for a big play this week, I think the Vikings just because Nick Foles is trash. So
Yes.
Okay. Chark or Gibson? The app says Chark. You are in the way. Can you move?
This is a mixed suite. This is
Sorry,
I'm going to just guess your app is ESPN.
Yeah.
Never listen to the ESPN projections. IBM
terrible.
that
Never
that
listen to
IBM
ESPN anywhere about anything.
that IBM Watson trade assist is telling me to trade Devontae Adams and DK Metcalf for like 2 RB2s. I'm like, okay.
For what it's
IBM.
worth, he did say this is standard scoring.
I would go Gibson then.
Yeah.
Josh, you have the demon.
I was
Yeah.
just gonna say it, Ryan.
Yeah, Josh, you need to figure your shit out over there. But yeah, if it's
We'll send
standard,
an exorcist to your house.
if it's standard, Gibson.
I'd probably lean Gibson regardless if he didn't pop up on the injury report this week.
Sure.
Do we have any updates on that?
I
can
believe he was
take a-
practicing yesterday, Friday.
I'm going to go Gibson. I think Washington is going to be able to run all over Detroit. We talked about this on the Wednesday show. I love Gibson and McKissick. And PPR, I like McKissick more, but I think Gibson gets his this week as well.
He practiced in full on Thursday. He'll be
Okay,
fine.
yeah, I'm going Gibson in that. I just don't trust the quarterback.
Yeah, Gibson will be good to go.
Yeah, I would lean Gibson. I mean, I do think that Shark probably has a good floor even in standard. I mean, it's a couple times this week this year he's already had 14 targets like coming out of the gate. So they're going to throw him the football, but those targets aren't necessarily going to turn into receptions. And with Gibson, he's going to get at the very minimum the early down work. And with as bad as the Lions rushing defense has been, I think he still has a safe enough floor that with the upside potential can still outscore Shark.
He said the app is NFL Fantasy Football. McSweet, that's an even worse app than the ESPN app. Not to crap on the NFL's fantasy football app right now, but for the league that it represents,
Fantasy football app.
and for that's the official fantasy football app of the league. It's not even close. It's the worst app. By far, the worst app. I don't know. This is not to crap on the devs who make the app. This isn't to crap on the NFL who greenlights the app. It's bad. Like, it is terrible. And ESPN is pretty bad. So,
Because as we know, the developers who made the app were just doing what they were told. Somebody knew it and said it was
Exactly.
okay. So yes, it's not on them.
Exactly.
It's on the people who were like, "Hey, this is a good idea." No.
Well, the problem is that they don't take feedback to constantly refresh it and improve it. It's
What?
like they just write it out. And that's the
Lord,
one thing that I love about Sleeper is that they're constantly taking that feedback and trying to improve the playability for managers on their app.
I swear, every time I opened
adding
Sleeper,
auction
it
next
was
year.
like, "Hey, we did
Yeah,
this."
but they said that this year. So
Yep.
or going into
I
this
didn't know
year.
that.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
go ahead.
Tua or Carson?
Wentz.
Yeah, I would lean Wentz. And I'm actually starting Wentz over Tua in one of my Superflex leagues.
There you go. I think Tua has more upside.
Sure.
But I would also go Wentz just because I love Jalen Reagor.
All right, are you starting Will Fuller over DeAndre Hopkins, Stephon Diggs, or Cooper Kupp? Pretty sure the answer is going to be no, he said.
Over Stephon Diggs. Yes.
I mean, I would
Joe hates
absolutely
Diggs this week.
Yeah, I was gonna say I would absolutely start Fuller. I think out of all of these guys, I think his floor is probably the safest next to Cooper Kupp against Seattle. DeAndre's been much of a decoy of late. I mean, he's like barely top 24 in terms of wide receivers because Christian Kirk's just been killing it.
And he should see Trey White the whole game. So,
but I'm throwing out there. Trey White has been pedestrian at best this year. He has not looked like the Tre'Davious White that many people expect. Like, yes, he still has his moments, but he is not shut down corner Tre'Davious White this season.
And I'll give you that, but Kyler's already shown he's not going to force the ball, and I think that could be something to monitor. All that being said, this could easily be a Cooks game. So I think I would run with the 3 you have. I understand Joe's point of benching Diggs, but I think I would run with the 3 you have.
Yeah, I do think it's going to be a Cooks game. I wrote about that this week in my confidence plays column, but again, like Fuller has such a safe floor that I think both can still do well for Houston this week. If you're willing to gamble, sit Diggs, start Fuller, but I think you'll be fine really rolling with the 3, even sitting Fuller if need be.
Touchdown in 6 straight games for Will Fuller.
Okay. What happened? There you go.
Next one from Sean.
Yes, I'm fully aware. So in a 2 QB league, pick 2 of the 3. Kirk, Tua, or Ben, who was just activated by the Steelers. He can also drop Cousins for Luton or Nick Mullins.
Don't do that.
Tua and Kirk Cousins. No, it's painful.
I was going to say, Ben has a decent matchup, but he's looked very pedestrian this year from a fantasy perspective, missing the whole week of practice. We saw what happened with Stafford last week.
Exactly. I'm going to bench Ben out of caution.
I was about to say, I mean, I think either way, Cousins and Ben are fairly even. 2 is the guy that has the most upside of the 3 anyway. I don't think you're going to get worse results from Cousins versus Ben or vice versa. I'd say flip a coin, but I would probably lean Ben just because it's a Dalvin Cook or bust game.
Actually,
that's their entire offense in Minnesota.
I was just going to say, that Chicago defense is great against the pass, and I don't think they'll force it. I'm actually going to get rid of that. I would not start Cousins. I would start Ben over Cousins, even with the week off.
I think it's going to be ugly. Again, I don't think Cousins is going to go off by any means, but I don't. There's zero upside for Cousins this week.
So in that instance, I'll drop Kirk Cousins, pick up Jake Luton.
Yeah, Luton.
I'm not starting Ben Roethlisberger.
Interesting.
Not starting him.
I mean, that's fair. I wouldn't hate dropping Cousins. I mean, he hasn't been great this year anyway. He's had a couple decent games, but he's a game manager. That's it. These are guys that you can pick up and add drop when needed. So
no one is scraping to get Kirk Cousins in your league.
Well, that's why
it is a 2 QB league.
That's what I was going to say. I'm shocked that that Mullins and Luton are out there in a 2 QB league. And I know we just did this on the show, I think a month ago with Sean, where we're like, sign every quarterback. Clearly your league doesn't care about just leaving quarterbacks out there.
Yeah.
So
I recently just picked up Nick Mullins in a 2 QB league.
So did you, Ryan.
Yep.
Yeah, you grabbed him in our Ballers and Friends Dynasty League. So.
Yeah, but I did it like 2 weeks ago when he got named the starter. I'm saying right now, how is he still out there when you know he started?
Yeah, I grabbed mine like 3 days ago for 0 money.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Hi, Troy.
I'm still rolling on my
Troy.
spending
What's up, Troy?
tab money.
Yeah, I actually called that out on the Wednesday show that I think you're going to try to do that this whole season. So,
basically, keep doing it. And everybody that I've tried to get, I've gotten. So
you have.
Troy King wants to know Hollywood versus New England or Mojo versus
Mojo. That's funny.
Never Hollywood.
Yeah, never Hollywood Brown. I get why.
Yeah.
Set up for the season. Why are people still so high on this guy? I don't get it.
I mean, Troy's defense, this is probably dynasty.
Sure.
So I understand keeping Hollywood on the roster. I mean, if this is redraft, just move on from Hollywood, dude.
Well, Troy, for those who don't know, Troy is an analyst, and you should be following him. I think Troy was an early tout on Hollywood too, and we all know when we get our calls into a guy.
Oh, absolutely, we hang on to him until death do us part.
100%. I'm just.
I don't love Marvin Jones's matchup for what it's worth.
No, not at all.
If you need maximum upside, by all means, throw a dart at Hollywood, see what happens. But I would roll with Jones to be cautious.
Just if he didn't have the last name Brown and was related to Antonio Brown, would we even care about this guy?
Oh, he
Well, sure,
looked
he was
good
a
that
first-round
last year
pick.
at college. Yeah, I wouldn't go that far to say we wouldn't care about.
I mean, it's his second year, and he was a first-round pick. That's why we're talking about him.
Sure.
I mean, the
already-
offense is terrible for wide receivers. In redraft, just calling it what it is, Hollywood is 100% droppable.
Yeah, he's just not good.
Sean is on my side here. He enjoyed my secret Joe mute.
Sean is also on my side in saying that
We're just flipping back and forth.
just throwing it out there that Sean said great mute, but he also said he can't stand Friends. So we'll move on now. Thank you.
What if he means actual friends and he's like a loner?
Oh, that's true.
I was going to say he could be a loner, man. We don't know this.
That
But we
when
appreciate you, Sean. We're your
Yeah.
friends.
When I first read it, it said I agreed with Joe. I agree with you on your friend's take, and I thought that he was saying that he agreed with Joe's friend's
Friends
take,
take
Thank you.
like the take of Joe's friend, not the show. And then I finished reading it, and he said that
grammar,
Joe offers him exactly. It's
Grammar.
important, people.
dangling modifiers.
Edmonds.
Dangling. Edmonds or Drake?
Edmonds.
Yeah, I would go Edmonds. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
I think a
go
big
Edmonds.
thing too is PPR versus standard, but I would roll Edmonds.
It's a half-point PPR, he said.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Edmonds.
Edmonds.
I
Yeah.
mean, like, are we really?
Drake has just been so disappointing this year.
We opened the
And-
show, or I don't know if we opened the show or we were just talking before the show. We talked about Jonathan Taylor's vision. Kenyon Drake's
Yeah.
vision's worse.
I don't
like-
even think it's that. I just think it's the offense. Like we saw the exact same thing with David Johnson last year.
Yeah, but Josh,
That's
here's
just
the
what
thing.
they're doing. And even Edmonds, the last couple weeks with Drake out, he's been in that Drake role, and they've just been running right into offensive linemen straight through.
No, sure. And here's the thing, though. Edmonds may get like 4 or 5 yards of some carries, and of course he'll have like the 2-yard carries because this offensive line just isn't great at run blocking.
Yeah.
Edmonds is making people miss. Kenyon Drake is not making anybody miss.
Yeah, and is non-existent in the passing game of late. too.
Exactly. So I think you go Chase Edmonds.
Okay. Is Carson starting this week? And also, Steven needs 2 and a flex in full PPR. So you're Judy, Chark, Kirk, and Zach Moss. So we'll start with, do you think Carson plays this week?
I'm assuming this is
Carson.
Chris
Yeah.
Carson.
Oh,
That's my assumption
yeah.
as well.
right. My bad. I was thinking Carson Wentz. I'm like, duh.
It
Uh,
seems like he's trending towards playing. So
Yeah, they called him a true game time decision the last time I looked, but I agree. It seems like he is trending towards playing.
I would still go Jerry Judy, Christian Kirk, and DJ Chark.
Yeah, I don't have a problem benching Carson for any of those 3. Now, Judy, they're saying is also a game time decision, but also leaning towards playing.
He didn't get hurt last week, though. It must have been.
Yeah, I don't remember what the injury was. I just saw the notification pop up on Sleeper. So
Look it up right now.
yeah, I
Okay.
mean, if Carson plays, you're starting him over Zach Moss. I'll tell you that right now. I mean, he's your stud. Put him in. Like it is what it is. If he's not being able to break any long runs, they're going to get him involved in the passing game. So Carson, you play if he plays. That's just kind of how I feel about that. In terms of the wide receivers, Kirk is a must for me. I would lean Judy in that instance.
Judy's going up against another bad secondary in the Raiders, and he just torched the Atlanta secondary last week.
Yeah.
I mean, if you saw the replay of him just running that same route over and over again, looking like he was about to go deep and then stopped on a dime on a comeback route, it was ridiculous. Jerry Judy should have a good week.
Okay. The second part of that question. Nope, just kidding. You already figured that out.
Yeah, we already figured that out.
Okay, LOLs, lozels. Okay, so brief pause in viewer comments because there's an important question. There's a really important question from the peanut gallery that is these
Right.
3.
Or the analyst gallery. I mean, whatever way you want to look at
Oh,
it.
peanut
sure.
gallery.
Okay.
this
So-
is actually a lineup question for myself.
Oh man,
I don't think it's a
I have a
coincidence.
feeling I'm going to let you down one way or the other,
No,
right?
I don't think it's a coincidence. Since,
I ask the questions around here.
okay, so you know which one I'm talking about, obviously.
Well, I asked and I
Yeah,
was
it's the Wayne
Yeah,
Gallman or
that
J.K.
one.
Dobbins question, right?
Obviously.
obvi. So we all know how Josh feels about Jalen Rager and how Josh feels about Deontay Johnson. So Ryan has an important question. Because, Josh, in the battle for your heart, who are you giving your last rose to? Who?
Jesus, you really turned this into a bachelorette question, didn't you?
Sure did.
What a terrible show.
All right, Josh. The final rose for the evening.
I don't want to be here anymore.
When you're ready.
God, I hate that show.
So,
If it changes anything, it is the one standard league that I'm in. So
That does help, actually.
all right, Josh. It's on you.
You gonna ask the question?
Jalen Reagor or
Okay.
Deontay Johnson? Who are you giving your final rose to?
Oh goodness. If it's standard, I'm gonna lean Deontay. I think if you're chasing upside, go Reagor.
and I am.
Okay, then yeah, I think that's how I would lean. Cincy is they're very middle of the road against wide receivers in fantasy points allowed to wide receiver. Yeah, excuse me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean. But again, there's so many mouths to feed in terms of the passing offense. You know, Ben not practicing all week. How's that going to affect the timing, et cetera? Deontay, I believe, is like top 10 in the NFL in least accurate deep balls thrown his way.
Wow.
Like they're just not connecting deep at all. And Deontay, we've seen last year, like he gets separation. And if you can't hit him deep, that's going to ultimately lower his ADOT, his average depth of target as a result, because all of his catches are coming underneath. So I think that limits his ceiling, but it keeps his floor moderately high in terms of receptions and yards. But again, it's standard. So he could have 8 receptions for 60 yards, and that doesn't do you any good. So I think in that instance, if you're chasing the upside, Reagor has the touchdown potential more so than Deontay.
Perfect.
So I would lean that way.
Yeah,
I was going to say, and I've got all of my leagues are PPR, half PPR, and there are a couple instances where I am starting Deontay over Reagor, but there's also a couple instances where I'm fitting both of them in my mind.
I had Jonathan Taylor go, so I definitely need upside because the word
I would
upside
go
and
Reagor
Jonathan
in that.
Taylor can't be in the same sentence.
So currently in PPR, Deontay Johnson is ranked wide receiver 54. Josh, you have him finishing as the number 14 wide receiver in your preseason projections. Do you think over the next 7 weeks, Deontay Johnson can finish at that wide receiver 14 projection you have him at?
At this point, probably not.
Okay.
What is he
I will
on
say-
points per game? I'm gonna look that up.
and that's the big thing for me is he's missed some time. He's left a couple games with injuries. The one thing that I like, which I was really basing those projections on, was targets per game. And right now, he's over 10 targets per game in the games that he starts and finishes. And that's the encouraging thing for me. I think he still finishes this year above or right around 100 targets. So I wasn't too far off, but the touchdown upside hasn't really been there. He does have a couple, but I also didn't think that Chase Claypool was going to be worked into this offense as much as he has been. But I will say that Juju has been just about what I expected. He's been non-existent for so many games this year. And that shows me that that many in the fantasy community overdrafted Juju. Yep. People weren't drafting Deontay where I had him, which is fine because I wasn't drafting him where I had him because the value just wasn't there. But when you look at how they were working this offense, they're still working him in that Antonio Brown role where they're feeding him plenty of targets. And again, when you're not hitting him deep with accurate passes, that's going to lower his ceiling.
He has 3 touchdowns on the year.
Yeah, he's 45 in points per game. I just looked it up.
And the only time he has scored more than 15 points is when he puts up a touchdown.
Yeah.
So,
which is fair.
Yep.
Okay.
Rough season.
So it's clarified that this is a half PPR. I don't think we covered this one. Edmonds or Drake?
Yes,
we did.
Chase
Edmonds.
I was paying attention.
Come on, Faith.
So McSweet wants to know if he's trading Dalvin Cook for DK.
Hold on.
No.
It's backwards. I know this because he asked me on Instagram. It's supposed to be DK for Dalvin Cook.
Yes, do that trade immediately.
Yes, you do that trade.
Yeah.
So,
Don't
and then he
love
also
losing
says-
DK, but you want the top end running back.
And it's a standard league as well.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah.
And then in his second league, his friend says he will give him Dalvin Cook for CeeDee Lamb. And the first league, he wants DK for McLaurin. Should he do it?
Hold on. If someone's willing to give you Dalvin Cook for CeeDee Lamb, smash.
Yeah, even in a
Smash.
dynasty, you make that trade.
Smash.
So, yeah.
That's not even
Yeah.
okay. I don't know about Dynasty, but smash.
They're way closer in dynasty than some of the debates we had on Wednesday.
Oh,
but-
sure,
yeah.
most definitely.
I just want to say I feel personally attacked by this question because I like both those shows.
Well, hold on. There was a second part on that last question.
Yeah, the DK
Oh.
DK for McLaurin.
Ah, stop.
If it's PPR, I would take the McLaurin side of it. If it's standard, I would keep the DK side of it.
That's a fair assessment. I would go McLaurin.
Yeah, I like McLaurin. He's not competing with anybody, so he has
Very
like
true.
a very high floor every week. Whereas with DK, sometimes he's going to have the down weeks, like we saw with Arizona. I think
what
there's
if
a
we
lot more
called that one?
consistency with McLaurin than with DK, but I think at the end of the year, DK is probably going to outscore McLaurin.
Wonder who called that Arizona downside game that nobody else called. Weird. It's almost like Patrick Peterson's a really good cornerback this year.
Somebody's
on.
over there tooting his own horn without saying
on.
whose horn he's tooting.
Carrying on, tweeting my own horn. Self-proclaimed most humble man in the world.
I didn't say tweeting, I said tooting.
Tooting, tweeting.
All right,
Touting.
in McSweet's second league, he's 2-7. Is it worth it to give up a good wide receiver in his 8-1 league?
No. If you're 8-1, don't change the recipe.
Yeah.
Yeah. No need to change the recipe if you're 8-1.
Unless you can trade some of your bench fodder for someone that can, help in a pinch. Yeah, ride the wave.
Yeah, like for example, that's a good point, Josh. I'm 6-3 in this league, I believe. Yeah, I'm 6-3 in this league, and I traded 3 bench guys for Ezekiel Elliott and John Brown.
Yeah.
So it's like I knew that I wasn't losing any starting firepower.
Yep.
So I traded for a top 3 draft pick that is hopefully going to do something, and then John Brown, who clearly showed
Can
he can
fill in as a flex when needed.
if I need to, exactly.
Yep.
And I was able to still pick up Jalen Reagor and Jacoby Myers on waivers. So
There you
really,
go.
really loving life in that league. So yeah, it's a good point, Josh.
Okay, so Sean's got his last tough 10-team league question.
Say that,
Say that
5 times fast.
fast.
Tough 10 team. Wow, that's tough. That's a good one.
You missed the 10 team.
Tough 10 team.
All right, you're picking a running back and 2 flex.
Two
So
flex.
Mike Davis, Chase Edmonds, Giovanni Bernard, Zach Moss, Devontae Parker, and Juju Smith-Schuster.
I would absolutely start Parker.
Yes.
And Edmund.
Right now,
Terrible.
among corners in the NFL, has allowed the 11th most receiving yards to in the slot.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
bad.
so I can get on board with that.
So-
Parker, Edmonds, Juju.
Okay, so Duke Johnson or Little Red Fournette?
Duke Johnson.
Johnson.
Next question.
Duke Johnson. Yeah.
And
All
what's
right.
up, David?
Full PPR. You picked 2.
Dos.
Josh Demon.
Dude, don't yell at us. We're the messenger.
I don't know why you're
Jeez.
looking at me like that. I'm just telling you what I hear.
God, you're ruining Trey's question.
You said demon. I'm like, I didn't even say anything.
We
Yeah,
can
but it
hear
was
it
like,
when you breathe.
the demon came through.
Stop breathing, Josh.
Yeah.
Okay, so she goes.
Yeah, Josh, stop breathing. We don't want you here anymore. How rude.
Gio Swift, Deontay Johnson, or Brandon Cooks.
Johnson and Cooks.
Thanks, lady and gents. You're welcome.
Yeah, Johnson and Cooks.
Yeah, Johnson and Cooks.
Okay. Does he start DK against the Rams?
Abso-frickin-lutely.
Jalen Ramsey is a fraud. You start DK Metcalf.
And he's already come out and said that he's not shadowing DK, and even if he did, it wouldn't matter to me.
Wouldn't
Yeah.
matter.
You're not benching DK. Even
Yeah.
if he has a bust week, you can't bench him because you got to wait for the boom week. You got to play him. If you want to take advantage of his boom weeks, you have to have him in your lineup every game.
Jalen Ramsey got burned by Michael Gallup. That's where I'm leaving the conversation. Is he
There
got
you go.
burned by Michael Gallup? DK
Okay.
Metcalf's going to smoke him.
Would you trade McKinnon and Lamar for Brandon Cooks for D Hop?
Oh, that's a lot.
It's a lot. I would need to know who your other quarterback is. I'm not against it. If you're trading all bench guys to get Hopkins, go ahead.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would do that.
Okay, we've gotten some clarification from McSweet. So in this second league, his friend wants CeeDee Lamb for Cook, and in my league 1, he wants DK for McLaurin, but he's 8-1 in the league with DK.
Well, hang on to DK in the 8-1 league.
Yeah, I don't think you change the recipe in a league you're 8-1.
Yeah, you'll anger the fantasy gods. It's not worth it. You don't make any changes in that one.
Broke.
You trade CeeDee Lamb for Cook
Dalvin Cook in every league possible. Yeah. No doubt.
Okay. Full PPR in the flex position. Are you starting Deontay Johnson, Agib, or Rager?
A lot of good
Johnson.
matchups there. A lot of good matchups there. In
Johnson.
PPR, yeah, I would lean Johnson. Gibson, I think Gibson and Rager easily to me have the most upside.
Very
But I
hard for me to
think
bench Antonio
Deontay-
Gibson right now. I would go Gibson. So
Yeah, I would.
I
go
think I would
Deontay
lean
Johnson.
Deontay, but I honestly I think you could start all three and be happy.
The
Either of
Bengal-
those three. Let me rephrase that.
Yeah, the Bengals secondary is so bad. They don't have anybody to cover Deontay Johnson man to man. Nobody.
which is why they'll throw to Chase Claypool 12 times.
Probably. Yeah. No, and that's the only downside with Deontay Johnson. You know Gibson's going to get his work. You know Jalen Reagor is going to, he's not. We don't know if he's going to get his work, but you know there's going to be at least 2 or 3 deep balls that Wentz is going to try and hit him on.
2
Johnson
50-yard
is
touchdowns.
Exactly. Is it going to be the week where Johnson, gets his 10 targets, 6 catches, and 70 yards, or is it going to be the week where he gets 15 targets, 10 catches, and 2 touchdowns, or 3 targets, 1 catch, and no touchdowns? That's the biggest. The guy who has the biggest downside is.
And those
Deontay
3
Johnson.
targets would be if he, he definitely has the most boom or bust, because if he leaves early, then it's only 3 targets. But if he plays the whole game, he's gonna see 10, 15 targets.
14 targets. Yeah.
Sure. Yep.
Okay, so real quick before we get to my favorite part of the show, how do you feel about Mooney this week? And would you flex John Brown or Zach Moss in a full PPR?
Love Mooney, hate his quarterback.
Yeah, I mean Darnell Mooney is an absolute stud. That's no question. He's a stud. And when he finally gets on a team, or the team gets him a quarterback, Mooney will be probably a top 24 wide receiver. He's open on every route that he runs. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And you're flexing John Brown over Zach Moss. No question.
Absolutely.
John Brown revenge game, baby.
That's right.
4 years in the making, I think.
Yep, he's been biding his time.
Oh, baby, I cannot wait. Again, see Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. See that game. What did Tyler Lockett do? I'm not saying John Brown's about to rip Arizona for 60 fantasy points.
But it's possible.
I mean, it's possible. I'm not gonna lie. I think Brown's floor is 25 points in PPR.
Jesus.
I don't know about floor,
Pretty
but
sure his floor is 3 points.
Guys, I'm throwing this out there. Drake Kirkpatrick is a terrible defensive back.
And he's hurt too, isn't he?
Yeah, and he played hurt against Tyler Lockett, and they'll shift out Byron Murphy, who I believe is better, but they would rather Byron Murphy in the slot, so Murphy's probably going to see more of Cole Beasley, who's probably going to have not as good of a game.
Yeah.
Whereas I believe it's going to be Kevin Peterson is the backup to Drake Kirkpatrick on the outside, and Kevin Peterson is not good. So, John Brown is going to have a very good game. I'll lower my floor to 20 points. 25 may be an exaggeration, but 20 points.
Feels so much better.
I could easily say 8 for 100 and a touchdown. Easy. Over 100.
Okay,
Big time.
now that we have officially answered all of the stream questions, all of the live questions, and it's 12:15, it's time for a little part of the show that I like to call randomly ask the guys about their low rostered but should play mostly wanted players. And Ryan
Made the question.
Where are we
better.
going with that?
by making them Josh, what's that face?
Your mic cut out, so all we hear is you yelling at me, or C is you yelling at me with no words.
I was so confused on where that went.
Anyway, so
Let's do it.
It's not as much fun now that you guys know about it, but we'll start with Ryan.
So I know we're not supposed to do 2, but start Jalen Reagor. But Josh Reynolds, anybody against Seattle is a smash play. I think Seattle's entire secondary is banged up at this point. This is going to be a game where Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods are going to get theirs. The tight ends are not going to. Seattle is surprisingly good against the tight end. I think Josh Reynolds is a really good play this week. I don't have the confidence of one Chris Molina, but I would still say he's a good play.
Of one Chris Molina. Excuse me.
He's dirt cheap on DraftKings
Molina
too. I think he said it was 3,500. So it's definitely
plugging him into a DraftKings lineup, definitely.
All right, Joshy.
Oh, Joshy. Oh, the baby boy. Who you're running back?
I just said the name. Blame everything else on Joe.
I also have two. If you want a volume play, Wayne Gallman against Philly. I don't think there's a ton of upside, but he's going to see the football. Right now, his rostership in ESPN is 24.2%. That's insanely low for a starting running back. So that solid points in the flex, 8 to 10 potentially. Maybe gets a cheap touchdown. But in terms of upside, 8.6% rostership for Gus Edwards. If Mark Ingram doesn't play, which again, it looks like he's kind of trending towards not, him and J.K. Dobbins will split carries. Dobbins has been out snapping him of late, but it's not by much. And that being said, they're roughly the same in terms of total carries. Edwards has 110 yards over the last 2 weeks or 2 games with Mark Ingram out. Is not doing much in terms of receptions, but he's getting all the goal line work. And when they get into the red zone, that's where they're going to score, and they're going to go with Edwards. So, again, cheap touchdown, low percentage, very cheap flex.
Okay.
Faith?
I'm over here looking at questions while you were talking, and I'm just confused because I'm not sure what. There's not really a question here.
Yeah, I was reading that one. Looks like a pretty solid lineup.
It's a continuation.
Yeah,
I feel like it's a continuation off.
I think he's just telling us his lineup.
Okay.
Is that
Yeah.
the
Solid lineup.
Yeah, good lineup. Especially this
Yay for you. I don't know what's happening.
week. Yeah, he was just saying that's his starting lineup because he added in his bench in there as well. So
All right, Joe. You can have 2.
good.
Actually, You know what? I lied. I want you to give me 3.
Ooh.
Ooh.
I need a
Mitch
defensive lineman, a linebacker, and you pick the third one.
One at each position. Oh, baby. Okay. I was going to stay away from defensive linemen because that's normally one that I've given the people a lot lately. But disclaimer, every defensive lineman I've given you has gotten a sack in the week that I've told you to take them. Deron Payne, the D lineman for the Washington football team, rostered in 7% of CBS leagues. Again, that's what I go off of because that's my IDP league. He had 7 tackles last week against the Giants. The Detroit Lions don't have a much better offensive line, so I believe that Deron Payne's a good play at defensive line. Going to the linebackers, Jerome Baker is an intriguing pick, but I like Tremaine Edmonds a lot better. Edmonds rostered in 46% of leagues, so he may or may not be in your league. But last week, he lit it up against Seattle. 11 tackles plus a sack and a pass defensed if you get points for that. So love Tremaine Edmonds. Had a great week last week. He's going to play another good offense, so he'll see plenty of action this week. And then defensive backs, I said his name last week, I believe, as well. Adrian Phillips. I told you to grab him last week. 8 tackles in that game. 7 solo tackles playing against the New York Jets. Baltimore has a much better run offense. And that's where Adrian Phillips gets pushed up into the box, and he's basically their last line of defense after or before Devin McCourty. So he's the last line of defense, and Phillips is normally making those plays. I love Adrian Phillips, and for some reason, if Jesse Bates is still available in your league, he's available in 61%, but if Jesse Bates is available, please pick him up. He's available in my league. I have Justin Simmons, so I have no need to start Jesse Bates since I only start one defensive back. The guy has had 2 games under 10 points and only 1 game under 9. He's an absolute stud, and he had 11 tackles and an interception last week. blows my mind that Jesse Bates is still available in that many leagues. So please pick him up. And all you guys are sound because you have no clue who I'm talking about. So
No, actually, I was going through my IDP league.
She was looking for all your guys.
you're welcome, Faith. Yeah, I think more people should play IDP.
She asks these questions, Joe, so that she can take advantage of them.
Yep.
I mean,
Awesome.
I mean, when
Hey,
I give her,
that's what we're here for.
I mean, if you don't think I go
It
through
is the
Ryan-
point of this show, so it works.
If you don't think that I go through Ryan's Stream of the Week article for player names before it gets posted, you're crazy.
What's funny is as soon as I do the DFS matchup report, I then go set my DFS lineups with all the data I just gathered.
love
See,
it.
I wait till Kira's cash grab posts and I read those, and then I go through and do all my.
I go through and check to see if there are guys I need to flip after her article comes out. So,
I don't play DFS, so I don't have that
There you go.
problem.
there was a trade question. If we want to throw that on here before we sign off.
But was there a trade question?
Yeah.
Oh.
Ish.
I would do this trade. I'm real interested to see if you guys would.
Yes.
Well, he already did it, so
Yeah, I mean, I would
Yes.
absolutely take the.
I did not see past tense. My bad. Okay.
I mean,
Yeah,
still,
I mean-
still our thoughts. Like, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, you're getting a top 5 running back for Waller, and then Henry and Fant. Like, I would
Yes.
absolutely
Yeah, great
get
trade.
the Robinson side of that trade hands down all day, every day.
Because
all day,
Robinson-
every day.
Robinson's probably going to score as many, if not more, points than Darren Waller.
Yeah.
Just this week alone, yeah.
Just even this week alone, and then Fant obviously piling on top of that. Hunter
Yeah,
Henry is
great
just
trade.
kind of like that throw in.
Yeah,
that
in
you
case Fant
wanted.
gets banged up.
Yeah, in case Fant gets banged up, but no, you
All
no
right, my
Albert
bad.
O, Noah Fant, definitely good trade.
Good show.
Okay.
Oh,
Are you starting
Dallas
Andrews
Goedert.
or Goddard?
Goddard.
yeah. Can't trust Andrews right now. Dallas Goedert.
Just
trust him.
if you have Andrews, just hang on to him. That playoff schedule looks so good.
Yep. And hope for the best.
Hopefully Lamar can figure out how to throw the football.
I was
during
gonna
the
say, is
playoffs.
it Andrews you can't trust or Lamar?
I mean, to be fair,
Jackson?
Lamar Jackson has 10 touchdowns and 0 interceptions in the red zone this year. He has the highest completion percentage inside the red zone of all quarterbacks in the NFL right now.
It seems
So,
like Dobbins
there's
is actually
that.
hurting Andrews because
Yeah.
they're using Dobbins quite a bit in the red zone. So
yeah.
So for people watching, you might know this, but the 4 of us are in a league, a club fantasy league. It's our some bullshit league. There's a bunch of other analysts in this league. And I have finally circled back around to Nate Hamilton, which is who I played in week 1.
Hamilton. Sorry. Continue.
It's okay. I was talking, and that's something I would have done. I'm proud of that moment. And
Maggie does it every time she sees someone with the last name Hamilton in an NFL game. Anytime. Hamilton. Great. Thank you.
because we love Maggie.
Yeah.
So I am 8-1, and the only person that I've lost to is Nate Hamilton. And so I kind of
revenge
want
game.
exactly, but I don't know if that's going to happen. So I'm like nervous. Am I going to go 9-1 or am I going to go 8-2, second only, and then be the freaking New England Patriots who go undefeated in a regular season just to lose to the Giants twice in the Super Bowl?
Well,
Different correlation, but kind of the same. Like,
two
is Nate going to be my kryptonite?
two good things are you're not undefeated, so you're not going to be the Patriots. And other good thing is you're going to make the playoffs regardless because it's you and I believe
Josh
is it
Brickner.
Josh
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then it's-
you guys have a
it's
3-game lead over
on
everybody else.
second place. Everyone
Yeah.
else, yeah,
I've
because
lost
everyone.
4 in a row in that league, and oh god.
Well, Linda's entire team went on IR.
Yeah.
I lost Nick Chubb and Cortland Sutton.
I drafted
Ryan drafted Gardner Minshew in the first round.
Tommy's
like-
been killed by injuries too.
Yeah, Tommy got smacked with injuries. Faith took like 3 of my sleeper picks, so I feel proud. I feel proud.
Oh, thanks, Joe.
No big deal. I've really my sleeper picks this year have either been like out of the park hits or Dwayne Haskins. There's no in between.
so you're boomer bust, right?
There's some that are middle of the road. Obviously, some of them I have to be like I even said like in some of them, for the Falcons, I was like Laquan Treadwell, don't draft him. This is my only option. Like some of them I do that, but then other ones I feel more confident in. Dwayne Haskins, I was actually somewhat confident in because
And it's not even like he played bad before.
yeah,
the
he
game.
wasn't terrible. And I'm like, oh, that's tough. Yeah, Dwayne Haskins, I think
They
now
just
is my
pulled the
worst.
plug on him too early. Is really what it boiled down to.
I think Haskins is my
Because
worst
outside of that,
sleeper
nobody
pick.
on that team is really busted out. Like if you'd chosen McKissick, all right, yeah, that's a home run. But I mean, I don't think many of us were thinking that he was going to have this type of impact to that team.
Well, no, and I think a big part of that was we thought it would be Gibson in that role.
And then we also thought that Dice
Sims
would be the main guy, and they
Yep.
booted him before the season even started.
Yep.
I should have said Cam Sims. Stupid me.
There you go. Who may not have been on the roster.
Yeah, I don't think he was on the roster. He was a practice squad player.
Yeah.
Yeah, tough.
Nate's currently projected to beat me. I kind of need.
Projections mean nothing.
All projections are bullshit.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying. I would like to thank Jonathan
Oh.
Taylor for his 5.7 points.
Yeah, JT's
Oh,
having a bad
Jonathan
year.
Taylor.
Going through my
I blame
sleepers.
John Helmkamp.
Oh, you can blame me too. I'm a big fan of JT.
Yeah, I fell into the trap.
Yeah, but are you like John Helmkamp in love with JT?
No, John is.
Not anymore.
They've already had their commitment ceremony, and they're planning their wedding anniversaries. Like that's
Correct.
JT's moving to Chicago with John.
exactly.
There you go.
They're
Congrats
moving
to
in
John.
together. Yeah.
Imagine I chose James Prochet as my Raven sleeper.
I
I'm
remember
still more right about that than I am Dwayne Haskins.
There you go.
That's incredible. That's
But didn't
incredible.
you drafted Prochet in some bullshit,
yeah.
but then didn't you like drop him week 2 or something?
Yeah, because he wasn't getting
Well,
anything.
yeah.
I ceremoniously drafted him. I didn't
You mean like Ryan's
I
ceremony?
mean, it wasn't like he
Drafted
spent a
Gardner
6th round
Minshew?
pick on his.
Yeah, no,
wall.
I took James Prochet
Waited
in the
till the
last
end.
round of the
Yeah.
draft. Yeah.
I just
mean,
can't
it's
wait
not
till
like-
I'm playing Faith in the championship and I have to start Minshew just for this shot at free beer that I won't drink.
But maybe you get to meet Gardner Minshew.
Now that, fuck yes.
That would be
But what if Minshew's on IR? You still gonna start him?
Couldn't care less.
You
Yeah,
have
I
to.
will. I will 100% start him. I'll take the L at quarterback and hope that my team backs me up. But if I can trade this beer just to meet Gardner, I don't even care. I want to do. So
Well, I like you get free beer just for starting him in the first. It was
Yeah.
like the lifetime supply. If you
no,
want.
that was a sweepstakes. I got entered into a drawing, so I don't think I won the first one. But you get like a year of free beer if you start him in the championship and you drafted him in the first round. They knew the shit wasn't happening. So
Yeah. My Deshaun Jackson sleeper pick isn't looking great right now.
no, not
Well,
at all.
I play you in 3 weeks again. I just want to say for the record that I've beaten all 3 of you.
Faith, again, it's
Handily.
you, Josh, and the rest of the crowd.
It just
The
makes
other
me
Josh.
happy. The fact that I beat the pants off of Hudson.
Not a good week.
All right.
My team turned for the worse after Dak Prescott got hurt. So
There you go. I think
Oh,
that
and
happened to a
Josh
lot of people.
Brickner's one loss. Yours truly.
Boom.
My Daria Gumbawale.
someone's bragging at this point. I think.
Yeah, I say let's kill this show.
My Daria Gumbawale pick at sleeper for the Buccaneers is still a better pick than Dwayne
Oh,
Haskins at this
Gumbawale.
point. Still a better pick. Not even on the team. Still a better pick.
All right, let's go. I got to edit this article.
All right, so for the 2 adults and the child below me,
Hi.
this has been Start Sit Different Day on Saturday. You know what, Joe, do your thing.
I was gonna say, I'm like, are you taking the reins here? This is.
You have 20 seconds, Joe.
Yes.
I have 20 seconds. Okay. You can follow Josh at the One Hudsonian, Ryan at the Fantasy 5, Faith at FF_Leap of Faith, myself at Joe_Zola. You can follow Club Fantasy on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Club Fantasy FFL. The URL is clubfantasyffl.com. Check out Kier's Cash Grabs that just dropped this morning. My Blurred Lines pick are out as well. Always remember, defense wins championship, offense wins fantasy football. Check us out on Wednesday with someone.